Good morning and thanks for joining us. This is the August edition of our monthly GoldMine Tips and Tricks webinar. We put on these tips and tricks webinars once a month. You can always visit our current software, including GoldMine, CRM, QuickBooks, and Crystal Reports tips and tricks by going to blog.marksgroup.net. You can also scroll down, and on the right-hand side, you can see that our tips and tricks are broken up by year and month, and also by category. It's a very nice resource to have. So today we're looking at a few different things. We're going to look at how to display two records in the new style, the new tabbed interface that you get with GoldMine 8.0 and above. We're also going to look at multi-level searches, something that people, in my opinion, are not using enough, and it's incidentally a very nice way to build lists and spreadsheets. We're also going to examine using to-dos, to-do being a very lightweight calendar item that you can use in GoldMine, which isn't exactly on a par with any other activity type. And if we have some time, we're also going to look at using a decimal in the duration field on a history item with an eye towards generating some billable service lists out of our GoldMine history. So let's jump right in. Your new GoldMine certainly now has a tabbed interface, which just means that as I open up items within my GoldMine, I get these a list of tabs at the top. Now, a lot of people like to be able to bring up two contact records side by side. So it's actually a two-step process. The first thing I want to show you is that to get rid of your tabbed interface, you can click this little four square box right here, and that releases all of our windows into child windows. So then that's kind of like the old style GoldMine. So for instance, if I have my calendar up, that appears as a child window as well. To look at another record side by side, I'm going to go to the window menu and then down to new contact window. And when I do that, GoldMine needs me to search for the second contact record to bring up. In this case, I'm just going to pick one at random. So now what we have are our two contact records side by side. Now keep in mind that GoldMine in general is always keeping track of who the current contact record is. And in this case, the current contact record is the one that's been activated. See, now it's Roadrunner and now it's Justin Hill. So we just want to be very mindful of that. A reason why you'd want to do this is, let's imagine we need to merge two records together. So let me search for somebody else at the Acme company just to make it official. Okay, so that's two different Acme company records. So what we can do now with two records up on the same screen at the same time, it's very easy now to go to Tools, Data Management, and down to Merge Purge, and I can actually merge opened records. And what that does is that will take the two contact records that I have visible, that I have showing, and merge them together, much in the same way that Merge Tagged Records does when you have multiple records tagged or checked in your contact search center. If your database is anything like mine, I have a lot of duplicate companies with different contacts at each one, so having two records up on the screen at one time can be very handy. Again, any item that you pick from this top level menu, whether it be schedule a call or complete an appointment, is going to be applicable for the activated or current contact record. Again, that's the guy that we clicked last. Well, we're on the topic of search. Oh, and incidentally, if you want to get back to your tabbed interface, all you need to do is just maximize any of your child windows, and then we're back to our tabs. So while we're kind of on the topic of searching, I'd like to look at multi-level searching in GoldMine. So getting to our contact search center in GoldMine, a couple of different ways to do it. Most famously, we have a search button here, which brings up our contact search center. Here's a shortcut I like to use. When I want to search by a contact name, I double click the word contact right on the record. That brings me to my search center. I'm searching by contact. If I want to search for company, I can simply double click on the word company, not the company value, the word company. If I double click on company, I'm now searching by company. Same goes for last name, so on and so forth. So that's a very handy way to get to the contact search center. However, when I'm in the search center, I might not always be searching for a particular contact. I might want to search on a state, let's say. So let's drop down my search by list, and we're going to find state in our alphabetically sorted list. So now I want to look at everyone in PA. Okay, very good. But let's now imagine that I want to look at everybody in PA and New York. So typically at this point, you have to make a phone call to your crystal reporter. You have to worry about generating a list in some special way or building a filter. There's actually an easier way to do it. If I click this little plus sign here on the far right, that opens up a new search bar. So now I can compound my search and actually really start appending some conditions to it. To remove them, I hit the little minus sign. So in this case, I can say state begins with PA and, actually I want to make that an or state begins with New York. So now I'm getting either. What I want to show you here is that when you start adding search bars to your search center, they are connected via this little and or. So if I had kept that as and, it shows no records. And the reason why it's showing no records is because in order for a record to be displayed here, it wants the state to be both Pennsylvania and New York, a condition which is clearly possible. So in that case, we'd like to just drop this down and use the or. So it can be either PA or New York. So now let's add another one. We'll say it can be in PA and New York, and I also want to look out of those PA and NY records. I want to look at what records is Robert handling for me. He's an account manager here in my GoldMine. So I can go ahead and add another search bar and account manager. A nice trick is to actually keep hitting the first letter of the field you're looking for in the list, like I'm just clicking A there. So account manager should also be equal to Robert. So why is this listing records where Robert is not the account manager? Because again, I'm looking at either PA or New York and Robert. If I wanted to simplify this, I could just look at one state that Robert has, in which case I only get Robert records. So I guess, well, handy, it is certainly not as robust as the filters that come with GoldMine. But just to show you, this is a very nice way to where I can look at everyone in New York State that Robert is taking care of, or I could look at my contact type. Do I have a contact type? I do not have a contact type. Well, at any rate, you get the idea that I can keep on compounding my search. And what's really nice about this is that once I generate a list here, oops, bear with me, I can easily right-click that list and say Output to Excel. And that dumps the contents of my search center into a spreadsheet. Very handy for meetings. Just to show you that right-click Output to functionality is actually available in almost every window in GoldMine. So whether I'm looking at a client's history, let's say, I can right-click here and output to Excel, or they're pending, same deal, I can right-click and output to Excel. So that's a very nice way to allow your end users to easily build their own list. A lot of users like to work off of paper or from something printed. So being able to compound that search result and actually right-click and output to that list can be very, very handy. We're going to move on to the calendar right now. And what I wanted to show you guys was how to use to-dos. And before I get into to-dos, let's just look at the calendar in general. So I go to Go To and then Calendar. Incidentally, you can also size this toolbar at the bottom up. I can see my calendars available right there. So now when I'm looking at my calendar, and I'm looking at the day view, I have, obviously the day, the week, the month, and the year, so on and so forth. If I'm looking at my day view, obviously what I see here are items scheduled for today, which is as you expect. However, when I schedule an item, in this case we're going to schedule a call, I go ahead and I give it a reference, sales call, give it some notes. If I omit my time, if I leave the time blank, GoldMine does not know where to draw that on the graphical calendar, so it just doesn't try. Anything without a time is going to end up in this little task pane. And you'll notice the task pane is available pretty much wherever you are in the calendar, whether it be the week or the day. So the task pane is a very integral component of the GoldMine calendar. So if we're looking at our calendar, anything in here does not have a time associated with it. But in all other respects, it is just like a normal calendar item. I can right click and I can edit. Looks just like a normal calendar item. Okay, so what a nice usage of this is to actually, if I have some things that could happen at any time today, but just has to happen today, I can actually schedule these items against contact records. And just omit the time, and when I do that, they appear in this task pane on my calendar. Now, if I ever want to set one of these to a specific time, I can certainly right-click and I can edit, and I can give it an explicit time here. But it's actually easier to just drag this guy onto the calendar itself. So let's imagine that I think that this afternoon I'll have time to do that sales call for Wile E. Coyote. I'm going to go ahead and just click drag that, I'm going to click drag that call down here. Wrong call. So you see here that I can actually drag things to and from my task pane. So again, this is a nice place to hold maybe some non-critical things that just have to be done on any particular day. To reiterate, to clarify, these items in the task pane do have a date associated with them, and you can see that if I flip to tomorrow, it no longer appears there. So they are tracking some sort of date information. They just know the day it's going to happen, not